Not every nightmare hides in old legends or abandoned places. Sometimes, fear slips into the most ordinary parts of life. The places we think are safe, the routines we repeat without a second thought. And maybe that's what makes these stories so disturbing. They don't belong to some far-off mystery. They could happen to anyone, to me, to you. Tonight, you're going to hear 3 real chilling accounts. Stories that left scars on the people who lived through them and blurred the thin line between everyday life and pure terror. If you're watching this alone, maybe turn on a light. Because after this, small details in your own life might never feel the same again. The first story. The hotel room in Carolina was on a business trip when she checked into a small, old hotel in a quiet town. The place looked normal enough. A little outdated, but clean. Still, from the moment she stepped inside her room, she felt watched. There was no one there, no reason for it, just a heavy presence pressing in on her. That night, exhausted, she fell asleep quickly, but around 3 in the morning, she woke with a jolt. A mattress dipped beside her, as if someone had just sat down on the bed. Frozen, she kept her eyes closed, pretending to sleep. Then she heard it, slow, deep breathing, right next to her ear. With her heart pounding, she finally snapped on the light. The room was empty. The next morning, shaken, she mentioned it to the receptionist. The woman wouldn't meet her eyes. She just muttered under her breath, "You're not the first to say that. That room, it's seen tragedy." Carolina finished her stay, but from that day on, she never spent another night in a hotel without leaving every single light on. The second story. The midnight cow's Jonah lived alone. A quiet apartment, a steady routine. Work, school, silence. Until one night at exactly 2:37 a.m., the landline rang. Half asleep, she picked up, but no one spoke. Only heavy, ragged breathing on the other end. Unnerved, she hung up. The next night, the phone rang again. Same time. This time, a low voice whispered through the static, "I'm watching you." Jonah froze. She rushed to the window, staring out into the street, but it was empty. She called the police. They told her to stay calm, keep track, and report it if it continued. Did. Every night. Same hour. Same phrase. Jonah stopped sleeping. She began wandering her apartment with every light blazing, but the calls never stopped. Finally, she hired a technician to check the phone line. After inspecting, the man returned pale, trembling. "These calls, they're not coming from outside. They're being made from inside this apartment." That night, Jonah unplugged the phone completely. But at 2:37 a.m., the phone rang anyway. The third story. The security cameras. Camila worked as the night receptionist in an office building. Boring work, most of the time. Just her, a desk, and a wall of surveillance monitors. Until one night, she noticed something. On the 8th floor cameras, a woman appeared. Young, dressed in white, walking slowly, aimlessly. Her head bowed, but the 8th floor was closed off for renovations. No one was supposed to be there. Tried the intercom, no response. She called the patrolling guard, asking him to check. He picked up, his voice tense and breathless. "I'm on the 8th floor right now. There's nobody here." Camila stared at the screens, and her blood ran cold. The woman in white was standing right behind the guard, inches away. Close. Enough to touch. She screamed through the radio, "Turn around." The guard spun, flashlight raised, but there was nothing. He swore he was alone, but Camila knew what she had seen. It was burned into her memory. That pale figure, watching silently, captured on every single screen. These 3 stories are reminders that terror doesn't always belong to dark forests or abandoned houses. Sometimes it slips into the places we should feel safe: a hotel bed, a quiet apartment, a hallway seen only through a camera lens. Maybe they're just coincidences, hallucinations, exhausted minds playing tricks. But what if they're not? So the next time you check into a strange hotel room, the next time you wake at exactly 2:37, or the next time you walk a silent corridor under the glow of security cameras, remember these stories, because sometimes the things we fear the most are already right beside us. And now I'll ask you, after hearing this, would you dare to face the next midnight alone?